Not going to be able to go through everything, largely because this webinar is going to be focused on getting started right, a lot of the core fundamentals of CoachNow, whereas a lot of you, and I'm glad you asked, a lot of you asked questions all around subscription coaching, high-ticket coaching, long-term development, some of the more business stuff, which I'm really glad you did, because we're going to be hosting another, what I'm calling a masterclass on those topics and a heck of a lot more in the first couple weeks of May. So I will make sure that everybody here gets an opportunity to join that, and it's going to come with some other bonuses as well. I will cover some of the business philosophies and the reasons why you want to take some action in the platform, absolutely. But I'm not going to be going into the nitty-gritty when it comes to subscription coaching offers, how to put those together. That is a whole nother presentation, and I'm putting that together actively, and that's going to be done for all of you in May. All right, so what you're seeing here on the left-hand screen, or on the left-hand portion of the screen, is the mobile app mirrored to the desktop, and then on the right, you're seeing the web. I wanted you to see everything all at once. That way we can go through kind of in sequential order on each platform so that if you are brand new, you absolutely know how the heck to work this thing. All right. So what we're seeing here again on the screen is the mobile app, and then on the web here. I wanted to point out this particular web page that we've built for all of you in case you don't know what this is. And this is the CoachNow for Athletes page. This is going to be an excellent way for you to understand and share with your athletes exactly what they're going to see. So what I would recommend as you are getting started within the CoachNow universe is that you use this page as a way to help onboard your athletes. So make sure that they can see this, because what's going to happen is it's going to tell them why they're here, and then it's going to show them exactly the steps to get started, what they can expect once they get that invitation from you, okay? We're going to go through the invitation process here in a moment, but I wanted you to understand that this page is here for you as a resource to make sure that your athletes know what's going on. You can also include this on your website or any other emailers that you're putting together, because it'll also add, I think, an opportunity for you to advertise how you're using CoachNow, why you're using CoachNow, and why they need to be on the lookout for an invite to begin with. As you can see, it's a pretty robust page with lots of cool animations, and I think it'll present very well for you and your business. So please make sure that you use this as a resource. Again, it's coachnow.io/athletes. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the very, very basics here. So again, I'm steering this towards a getting started right webinar for those of you that don't even know how to send an invite. We're going to be covering some of that, and then we'll get into the more kind of advanced features that people are looking to understand as well. All right, so I'm going to scroll up here just so that we don't have this spinning around, and we are going to head into CoachNow, sign in, and the first thing that you're going to want to do when you get started is create a space for someone. That is a one-to-one environment that allows you to communicate. There's two areas to communicate inside of CoachNow. That would be spaces and groups. Spaces are dedicated to a one-to-one relationship, but can have multiple people in there surrounding the athlete. A group is focused on, just like it sounds, a group of people. That could be a clinic, a camp, a paid community that you're maybe putting together, an educational opportunity for a heck of a lot of people. Anything and everything, it can be used in that way, and there's some other advanced things we might talk about today. But generally, I want to encourage you to use spaces for individuals and groups for groups. Enough said, pretty simple stuff. Now, what I'm going to be showing you today is going to be slightly tweaked moving forward, so that what I'm going to show you now will remain true, but I want to add a little bit more clarity for you, because we've made a dramatic improvement, we feel, to how you're going to not only invite athletes into the system, but how you're going to move them around within the ecosystem. Okay, so before we get to that, let's cover the very basics. So on the mobile, when you land, you're not going to see any of these other circles because you are brand new, let's just say. You might see your name here, and then we're going to go to new space. So in this case, when you signed up, you likely chose the sport in which you signed up for. Let me hide that. And so it's going to default to that sport. Now you can change this by just clicking here, and you can change it anytime. I've done a lot of golf stuff, so it's going to default to golf. I'm going to select a different athlete. We did have some questions around inviting people in. That would be done via email and phone number. So for a lot of you, you might not recognize that phone number is an option today to add people and invite people to spaces. I'm going to do the email process now, but just know that you can use the phone process as well. So we're going to enter the email. So we're going to write, let's say athlete 25 at email.com. And we'll call this athletes 25, just to keep it simple, okay? Now, in this case, I can add other members to the space. So if you are working with other coaches, you can invite them in. If you're working with parents or other people, you can invite them in as well. We're gonna talk about lists in just a moment, but we're gonna skip that just for this part. And then you can turn on the notifications that you wanna receive for this space during this process. So now I'm gonna go ahead and hit create. So what just happened? An invite was sent to that email and to that athlete, all right? And then if we reflect back on this particular page, they're gonna see all of these different things here. They're gonna get an email, they're gonna create their account, they're gonna go through it, and then they're gonna end up in their space, okay? The worst thing that you can do is have a space empty when somebody joins because they're not gonna understand the value. So what I would encourage you to do, we're gonna kind of cover two strategies here, okay? When you're working with someone right then and there and you create the space, it's gonna be just as easy just to hit the big orange button and capture a piece of media and save it into their account, okay? So in this case, let's just take a video here of my keyboard, just keep it simple. And what you'll notice here as I'm doing this is that you can switch to different frame rates of video. Now, we're gonna run into a few little issues because I'm mirroring my screen, so there's gonna be some funkiness. But generally, you can see that there's these other options to capture different frame rates. Now, because I'm mirroring my phone, it won't let me do that, but I'm just gonna go ahead and pretend as if I was hitting record. Go ahead and cancel out of that. Once I'm done hitting record, it'll bring up a save screen and prompt me to do so. But again, because I'm mirroring my phone, some of this stuff isn't gonna work perfectly for you. But generally, all you're gonna be doing is hitting the big orange button and following the prompts. It's very simple, okay? But again, you don't want to have somebody join a space that is empty, otherwise they're not going to see the value, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to make sure that they see the value. All right. Now, if we go over to the web, we can follow those same processes, but you'll notice there's one other option here, and that's called templates. This would allow you to pre-populate content so that it's waiting for them. So for me, unless I had to, I would more regularly create spaces on the web because I can apply templates. We do intend to have templates come to the mobile as well, but we've got a lot of other features that we're working on, and we're just kind of juggling all these different things, but they will get there. Now, as you can see here, and I'm just going to shrink this up a little bit so it's a little better. You're just going to enter their email, sport, and then you can apply the template, and the rest of the steps are the same. Now, again, if we created another one here, golf, and I'm going to apply the template called onboarding, okay? Go ahead and hit next. This is where, again, I can invite other people, and I can invite them to a list. So in this example, I'm going to say I want to invite them to my swing audit list. Now, what's going to happen here is that they're going to join this list. This is only for me, though. This allows me to message people in bulk, but the athlete has no idea that they are on this list, and we're going to talk about that more in a moment. Go ahead and create the space. Now, again, that invite went out to ADD Tester, and now, as you can see, there's already a video waiting for them. This is the magic of using templates. This is what I would recommend as you're onboarding new athletes, is you take the time to create a brief welcome video, even a brief text post. You could have a photo in a text post, a PDF. You could have anything you want. But the main thing is I encourage you to create that ahead of time. So when you're creating spaces, people are joining, and they're joining with content waiting for them. Okay, so now that we've talked about how to create a space, how easy that is, we're creating one space at a time. If you want to create multiple spaces at a time, you can do that by following this step, and it's all the same. You're just going to enter more emails. Now, if you wanted to create hundreds of spaces at a time, what I would encourage you to do is reach out to us, send us a CSV, and my team can then go ahead and create all of those spaces at once. But my team is going to encourage you to create a template ahead of time. So when you create hundreds of spaces, whether it be in basketball, football, golf, whatever it might be, your athletes, when they join, are going to have content waiting for them. All right. So now let's go to templates. We got to sign in here. All right. Just got to reload these because of some of the technical difficulties. All right. So now you can see I'm in the templates tab right here. All right. I've already got a piece of content in there. Now, if I wanted to add something else, welcome. This is a text post example, right? I could add some tags like welcome and then hit create. Now you can see I've got it in order here because of what was most recent. Now, the beautiful part about templates is I can reorder these. So if I wanted to put a bunch of content in here and change the flow of it, I can easily do that, hit update, and now you can see the video is at the top and then this other text is below. There's no limit to the amount of content that you can put in a template. In this example, this is an onboarding template, a welcome template to the platform, but you can always add more. Now, one clarification, you can only use templates at the creation of a space or a group / channel, and channels are the ways that you organize your communication inside of a group. Templates eventually will be able to be used at any given time. This is something that we're actively working on right now, and you'll actually be able to schedule those templates, which will be a pro feature. So everything I'm showing you now, let's just be clear. This is basic CoachNow stuff, so this is applicable to whether you're on the CoachNow Plus plan or Pro plan. This is just the basics of getting people into the system. Nothing I'm showing you is unique to either plan. So again, we've created spaces, and now we've shown you how to create templates. Now, if we go to a list, you can see here I've got all these different lists, and you can see how many people are involved in each one. Now, if I go to my swing audit list, you can see that that ADD tester is now in here. What can you do with a list? Well, I can post into this list. So I could make a simple post saying, hey, how was practice? And it would go to these two people. If I had other coaches that I'm working with and I wanted them to be invited in bulk to many spaces at once, I could then send an invite out in this fashion as well. So if I invited another staff member of mine, they would get invited into both of these spaces. Be very easy. Now, I can edit the name of the list, and I can manage the spaces so I could remove them or add them. Now, I'm going to talk about why this swing audit list exists here even in a moment, but that's going to be more about how to take people from social media and move them into our platform. I made a whole blog post about this last week, which goes in even more detail, and it walks you through all the screens and why you would do this. Now, I want to quickly go into the groups functionality just so that you can see that and how to create it. So you go to new group, add a logo. You don't have to, but if you want to, that's the best move. Name it, select the sport, and again, you can apply a template as well. So we're going to go demo. We'll just say golf to keep it easy, and we're not going to add a logo. We'll just move fast. Now, I have the opportunity to invite members into this group. If I want to invite members, I can do it via email, a link, or I can import a CSV. Now, inviting via email, we'll show you what that looks like. It's literally going to type it in, name, and then you're going to choose their role. So if you want to invite in another coach as an admin, you're going to need to do so by inviting them in the email way. That way we can validate their credentials and make sure that you're not just having random people join as an admin. Additionally, you can invite them as a member or as a viewer. You can invite people not only that way, but you can invite them with a share link. And again, you can't invite admin type folks in with a share link, but you can do that with members or viewers, and you would just copy this link. You can add this to an email, a text message, a Facebook post, to your website. You can even add it as a receipt link. So let's say you sold somebody a particular program that's a group training program. You can include this link in their receipt so that they know exactly where to click and where to go, okay? Now, this is where we're gonna pivot slightly before we talk about anything else. The change that's about to happen within the next 24 hours to 72 hours, once we get our marketing together to make sure that everybody understands how to use it, once you invite athletes into the system once, you've created a connection either in a group or in a space, you're going to have the opportunity to move them wherever you want. So to be clear, I invited athlete 25 into a space. They accept the invite. We are now a connection inside of CoachNow. If I want to move them into a group, I'll be able to just move them into a group. It'll be very obvious how you do it. I can't demo that for you today, but I wanted to make sure that you understood that that is coming, and we will provide all the resources. If you want to move them from a group to a space, you can do that as well. This is going to be a significant but very, very important change for all of you, especially when you're monetizing coaching business or coaching offers inside of CoachNow. You might invite people into a group as a way for them to get interested or introduced to your coaching practices, your content, and then you could upsell them to private coaching, but you don't need to invite them to another space. You can literally just move them into a space once they've given you the green light or they've paid you. We will release a lot of content on that very shortly, but I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. Okay. So I'm going to pause. I know we've had some technical issues. I'm also going very quickly as a result. I want to make sure that you guys are following along. Give me a thumbs up. Hey, I'm here. If you've got any questions, you can also ask them now, just basically on the invite process. I'll get more into the posting process, the content management side here in just a moment, but I want to make sure that you guys are all here with me still. So there is a chat box. Good. I see a few of you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great, great, great. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thanks for bearing with me here. It's not the perfect example of what we want to do, but we're moving through it. So here's the question. If you move to another location, do they get the templates moved to the new space or new group? Yeah, it's the same process. If you create a space or a group for them, they're going to end up landing in there, and whatever content you want to put in there is going to be there for them. The difference is they're no longer going to need to accept the invite. They're just going to see a notification here. Okay, they'll see a notification that says you've been added to a golf space or you've been added to a baseball space or a particular group. They'll click the link and they'll then be able to go into that space and or group without having to accept it. What that means for you is that you can start moving people around, adding content as you will, and then once they get in, you're good to go. It's going to make things far easier, especially if you want to move people out of a group and into a space, or move people, just kind of copy their instance into something else. It'll be a lot easier for you guys. Okay, great, great, great. So now, while we're in groups, let's talk about channels. Channels allow you to essentially organize your content. I don't necessarily want you thinking about it as organizing the people within a group, and I'll explain more about what I mean. But in this example, if we're still sticking with the theme of golf, let's just call this short game, okay? Now, I can make this channel joinable, auto join, or private. Private meaning you're the only one to see it, or the people that you invite directly to it. Joinable means they would see it on the list here, and they could go in and click and join it. Auto join, the most common, where once they join the group, they're automatically added to this particular channel. You can then describe the channel. This is for short game drills. And then you could add a template here. I'll just add that same onboarding template just so you can see it move in here. Okay. So now I've got this here, and now as a member of the group, I can start seeing the content being organized. It's incredibly simple. So again, if you are running a summer camp, a clinic, this is a great way for you to bring everybody into one environment and dish out content as you please. This also gives you the opportunity to organize a community and start sharing content that way. I, as well as many other coaches, are running kind of module learning courses through the platform, which I'll showcase in just a moment. But in order to take that next step and control a lot of what happens in the group, you're going to need to go to the group settings. Now, this is where we start getting into some pro features, just so that you're aware. So these little tick boxes here are very important to understand, and these are pro features because we know This isn't applicable to everyone, but if you are really looking to maximize your usage of CoachNow groups and potentially monetize them, you're going to need these checkboxes. So checkbox number 1, if it is checked, it's allowing all members to create posts. So a top level post, allowing all members to reply, right? So they have full functionality, allow members to see other members and allow members to see post views and likes. So if I were to uncheck all of these, okay, and someone were to join this group, the only thing they'd be able to do is see the content. They would not see these statistics here because I'm a pro member. I have the opportunity to see stats on who's seen what, who's interacted with it, who's liked it. And this is eventually going to bubble up into a much more elaborate dashboard so that you can understand the health of your business more effectively. Because the health of how your athletes are using CoachNow will determine their interest and kind of engagement with your overall coaching practice anyway. Okay? So now if I wanted to just invite people in and have them view my content, this is the way to do it. If I wanted to have some level of interaction, all I would do is just kind of check on this, and now they can reply to the post and it doesn't kind of mess up the organization of the content. If I want to keep it private who's in here, meaning the member count as well as who's actually in here, I would keep this unchecked. If you're running a soccer team and you want to make sure that everybody knows the moms and dads and the other athletes are in here, go ahead and check it, and then you can make sure everybody knows. This particular one, again, is kind of unlocking or blocking a pro feature that other pro members wouldn't be able to be a part of your group and see the statistics. Only you and your other admin would be able to see it, okay? So groups are incredibly powerful. We're not going to talk about all the different examples of how to use them, but you saw how to do an invite, you saw how to control some of the content, and that is what I wanted to make sure that you understood. Now, let's jump into an example of a space. I'm going to show you a couple of these of people that I'm actively coaching just to give you a sense of what it starts to look like. And I'll also show this to you on the mobile so that you can get a good look at it. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and look at this one first. So let me bring the mobile front and center. All right. So as I scroll down, what you're going to see, and again, this is geared towards brand new members here, you're going to see some great interaction between me and the athlete. What I want you to know is the majority of this content is actually from him. This is a remote coaching relationship ran exclusively through CoachNow. I'm not going to tell you the exact price, but a lot of these relationships might be $400 to $500 a month because you've got a lot of interaction. You've got maybe some live calls in here that are recorded, and you're just running this coaching relationship on your own time, but it delivers a ton of value to that athlete. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just click the video here. Let it load up. And as you can see, I've got these basic drawing tools. Again, this is geared to folks that don't know what's going on in CoachNow at all. Some of which, let's just make sure that's not hovering there so you don't get a misunderstanding of what it's supposed to look like. So I've got my basic drawing tools. If I hit the versus button here, I have the opportunity to compare Jason to himself, someone in my camera roll, someone in my library, or potentially an athlete in another space. This is pure CoachNow. It doesn't matter what plan you're on, you have these options. You can then record the screen by hitting the microphone, which I won't be able to do because of the screen share here. And I can even take a snapshot of a particular frame by hitting that camera button in the upper left, okay? Now, if I hit the three dots, I can now flip the video horizontally. So if I want to change a righty to a lefty, I can do an overlay, and I can even export this video into my camera roll to do other things if I want to. So in this case, let's just flip it horizontally so you can see how that works. And now we're going to start an overlay. So I'm going to go into Jason's current space, let it load up. I'm going to grab another video of Jason. And now you can see I've got an active comparison going. So it's pretty easy for me to control each individual video, draw some circles, whatever I want, right? Do all the things. Now, if I hit the button here that has this slight overlay look, these two kind of layers, so to speak, if I hit that, I've now got these two videos layered. If I scroll all the way to the left, you can see that this is the video I'm in control over. Scroll all the way to the right, you can see this is the video I'm in control over. And now what I'm trying to do is kind of find that sweet spot of where they match up, okay? And then from there, you can zoom in and out and move it around, and you can even record a little video to show before and afters. This has been an incredibly popular feature, and it's something that a lot of coaches love. Now, if I wanted to talk about a pro feature, what I would do is I would hit this camera button here, and you can see I am now on camera. This is Coach Cam. This is a pro feature that allows you to add even more layers of feedback onto this particular analysis. Again, all of the tools that I'm showing here are available only on the mobile applications. Coach Cam is about to or should have already been released on Android. Originally, it's been starting only on iOS. iOS is always going to go a little faster because we have the majority of our members there. Okay, Coach Cam, super cool. Now, if you were to hit the record button there, the microphone, everything that's on the screen would be recorded so that when it goes to the athlete, it would show up just as you're seeing it here as a reference point. But I'm going to exit out all of that. Now, if I click into the replies, you can see it starts to unfold all these details. So you can see I'm adding some comments here. I even do a little overlay for him. He's saying, hey, this is cool. And now we have this nice back and forth, very simple. If I wanted to add more replies, it's just start typing, and I can hit the orange button to add even more content in there. Okay. Now, if I want to search the posts, I can do that just by typing in the search bar. If I want to filter to find a specific piece of media or even a specific tag or time, I can do that as well. So when you are creating a post, I want to make sure that you're also taking advantage of the tags. So I'm just going to go to my own golf space here, and you can see that I've got these different tags. The reason I do that is so that I can find things. So if I go here, tag DTL, enter, apply, you can see now the very first video is has the tag DTL, and then other things that are out of order timeline-wise pop up because they have the tag DTL. So tags are super, super important as a way to organize your content, and you want to make sure that your athletes get an understanding of how to use them as well. The nice thing is when you start creating tags inside of a space, those tags will pre-populate as popular tags so that when your athlete is going, oh, I'm going to use this tag thing, this is cool, they will see what you've already put in there and they can just pre-select stuff. So it makes it easy to communicate and collaborate. We're going to continue to improve the tag and organization side of things, but it's imperative that you know it's there and that you start using it. Largely because when you start looking at your feed, which shows all the content across all your different spaces, you're going to want to be able to find different things again through the filters. Okay. This same behavior is on not only on the mobile, but it's also on the web. Now, again, if I clicked into this particular video, and we've got a question here about Coach Cam, are you showing students how to do or just as an added feature? So Coach Cam, a lot of times when I'm going through, let's say I'm talking through this video of me hitting a golf ball, I'm going to do, let's say, draw some lines. These aren't going to be lines that mean anything, but I'm going to draw some lines. And now, as I'm recording this content, and we'll try to do it here, I get the added value, or the athlete gets the added value of seeing my face, seeing my emotion, and it's just a deeper way to connect and communicate. Now, if I tap on the Coach Cam, I can bring it up bigger. Now imagine I'm going to back away from the camera, and now I can demonstrate something. So while I'm doing an analysis, I can also back away and demonstrate something. And now a video that might have just only had lines and voice has me explaining what I see on the screen and then demonstrating a deeper level of feedback within the Coach Cam environment. You also have the ability to flip the camera. If you want to show something, you can rotate it to where it takes up the whole screen. And then you can hit the little kind of recycle button there, and it'll actually access the front camera. The rear camera in this case, because I'm just looking at it here. So Coach Cam is super cool. A lot of coaches have said that alone is worth upgrading to Pro. We get a lot of people tagging us on social media that are kind of loving that particular feature. So encourage you to check it out for sure if you're not necessarily used to it. Now, while we're here, just because we're going over the basics, if you want to control the speed of a video, just notice that I tap this little 1x here, and now I can change the speed of the video very easily. Hit play, right? I can control each frame here by just dragging on the wheel, and it's got haptic feedback so you can feel what's going on. And then you can also just tap the arrows here and go frame by frame. Again, when you're capturing content inside of CoachNow, You can use any type of media that you want. Most of you are going to be using a lot of video, but I would encourage you to use audio as well, where you just hit the audio recorder and start talking away. The coaches that leverage this feature love it. And you also have audio controls where you can speed up or slow down the audio for replay. Quickly, notifications. This is where you're going to see all the recent activity, where you can just click on something and go right to it. This is also, this is also where your invitations will show up as well. You can see I've got a number of here, just kind of sitting and waiting. And then if I click onto the 3 dots, this is where I can manage my lists. I can also manage my library, which we'll talk about more in detail on the web, because it'll just be a little bigger so you can see. And this is also where you can get in touch with us with support and FAQs and things like that. Now, let's jump back to the web really quickly. Showcase how the spaces work, right? You got all the same stuff here. It's just laid out a little bit differently. The iOS application will also be getting a facelift of sorts here in the next few weeks. So it'll feel and look and operate the same, or sorry, it'll operate the same, but we're going to be making some small improvements that I think really clean up the way it looks. Now, question here, when you're capturing video, again, because I'm mirroring my screen here, it's operating a little bit weird. Okay, now it's starting to work for us. You can see that I can choose 240, 120, 60, or 30. Now, if you're and this is a question directly here, if you are capturing a technical piece, I would recommend that you leverage the 240 frames. It'll limit you to capturing a 30-second video. You don't want to be capturing something with such high frame rate and have it be a long video. That's kind of pointless. You can also go slightly lower, and then usually if you're going to be doing a talking head video, like a recap video, which is something we recommend where you interview the athlete, hey, what did you learn? You want to use 30 frames and you can capture, quote unquote, as long as you want. Now, I say that like this because I don't encourage you to capture 10-minute videos within the app. The files end up being quite big and it'll take a long time to upload. I would recommend that you try to keep your videos 3 minutes or under. One, because of the reason I just suggested, and additionally, because who's going to watch a 10-minute video? Not many people. You want to try to keep your content digestible for the athlete. All right, so let's jump back to the web really quickly. Now, within tags, yes, on the web, you do have a tag library of sorts, where you can add tags and you can also go in here and manage them. You can edit the name and you can delete them. Now, my example is a bit unfair because I've been running this business for 10 years. I've got hundreds, if not thousands of tags in here. I don't bother going in and editing them because when I use tags repeatedly, they show up as suggested tags when I make posts, and it's not a big deal. It's pretty simple. Now, let's go to the library here. We do get a lot of questions about the library, and this is why you want to use tags. So again, I'm going to go to this particular post. This is a recap. It will allow me to find it and recreate a post with this. If I go to the library, let me just move here. And if I filter really quickly, just by a tag, let's say drill, and filter, you can see here I've got all these tags with drill. Now you'll also notice in this particular one, that I've got ruler, drill, and putting. And this is why tags are so important, that you use them in the way that we suggest, where you're not going to be calling one tag putting, drill, ruler. You would use drill as a separate tag, putting as a separate tag. That way you can find everything that have to do with putting, everything that you have to do with drill, and everything that you might have to do with ruler, let's say. So tags work really well. So we do get a lot of questions. Hey, do you guys have folders? Do you have this and others? No, we don't have folders. Are we considering different organization strategies in the library? Absolutely. But if you use it the way it's designed and use tags effectively, you don't need folders because it's just going to be just as easy to go through here and say, again, I want to see everything that has the word drill attached to it. And here it all is. It's organized dynamically. If you're brand new to CoachNow, you may not realize this, is that every video that you create, whether it be on the mobile or you upload a video to create a post inside of CoachNow, it is copied to your library. The reason being is that we wanted to make it incredibly easy for you to reuse content. So as an example, this particular video I captured during a demo with some clients of ours. But if I wanted to reuse this now, because this is an explanation of a particular drill I was working on with this guy named Mike, I would then be able to reuse it with all of my athletes. I don't need to stand in front of a camera and film all these things. So a lot of coaches, regardless of the sport, are in the habit of filming all of their drills with a static cam on a tripod. That's fine, but I also want you to understand that if you create something, whether it be in the moment or for a specific athlete remotely, and you deliver it to them in CoachNow, you can then reuse that content with anybody else. Now, what you can do, which is also cool, let's say this explanation here about how to hinge the wrists applied to more than just this one athlete. I can go into here, I can create a post with this media, and I can add locations. So I could actually post this video to all of my pros and say, hey guys, just thought you might be interested in this explanation of wrist conditions and how it alters the club face. Check it out. So we had some questions come in beforehand on how to manage content in the CoachNow universe if you just want to be posting stuff directly to people that are just unique to them, or if you want to do kind of like Instagram content. Now, no, I wouldn't say you want to put general Instagram content inside of CoachNow, because for the most part, you're not trying to capture leads. You're not trying to capture new customers. You're trying to make sure that the existing relationships that you have with customers are fostered and things are going really well. So the nice thing about that, though, is that this particular video isn't anything super fancy. It's just a video I recorded quickly on my phone in my backyard. But because all the people in the pro list or even inside of CoachNow know me, love me, trust me, I can post this video to everyone and they're going to see a lot of value in it. It took me 3 minutes to record the video for Jason, and now I can reuse it for potentially thousands of people all at once to make them feel like I'm paying attention, that I'm caring for them. So I want you to understand that lists are a very, very powerful feature. We're also going to be improving this feature by creating smart lists. And this is diving into a question that a lot of coaches had about how to know if people are active or how to organize people more effectively. So smart lists, which are actively being worked on. I can't give you the ETA on when they're going to be delivered, but what you'd be able to do is you would see in this particular area, you'd see active lists. So those people that have been active within 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, it would self-organize them so that you can kind of know, oh, this person's not logging in. They're not posting, they're not interacting. And then beyond that, you'd be able to, as you can already, make lists of people that are in particular programs of yours. So I'm going to jump back into this swing audit list and give you the example. When you invite someone in, you sell them a program. If you're selling a particular, let's say, remote coaching program that includes a free audit, which is something I suggest, something we'll talk a lot about in our next masterclass, but I made a blog post about it as well. You're going to give them a free audit through a CoachNow space. Doesn't matter the sport, right? This isn't just golf, this is for everything. You're going to give them a technical audit. And then from there, you're going to add the feedback down below and kick off the relationship and then sell them into something else. But as you're creating spaces, if you organize them into lists as they're coming in, it'll allow you to do bulk communication. And again, just more than anything, just stay super organized. Now I'm going to pause here. Can you limit the student's tags? So if we jump back to tags, no, you cannot, in the sense that you can't block them from typing their own tag. But some of this is just going to be an education opportunity that you provide with them, a little bit of coaching that you're going to deliver to them when you onboard them to say, hey, this is some of the tags we're going to be using, and I want to make sure that we're reusing the same tags over and over again so that we can find things. That could very easily be in your onboarding template that you apply. You can make a video, and then you can even add some best practices on tags and the way that you want to do things. A lot of coaches add 2 or 3 things to their onboarding template to make sure that the athlete not only feels welcomed into CoachNow, but gets a sense of the best practices and the expectations. All right, so I'm going to pause here 1 sec, take a sip. If you guys have any questions or anything, please make sure that you ask them now. That way we can keep it rolling and kind of get through this and make sure that you guys get the recording too. All right, if you got any more questions, please fire away. I'm just going to make sure that I've covered generally what I want to in this particular webinar with you guys. All right. So one other thing that I haven't mentioned, which I think is a powerful feature, is being able to pin posts. So when you create any content within the platform, mobile or on the web, you have the opportunity to pin posts. Now, you can pin it until a certain date and time, and then it'll just go away, or you can pin it just indefinitely until you decide to remove it. So now this post is pinned at the top and it'll just stay there. So no matter what I add today, tomorrow, or in the future, this post will be at the top. Why is this important? Well, as you can see, I've got a link here. This link, while it might be linking out to a particular video for him to watch, it could also be a link to my calendar, my schedule, important articles, my website, whatever I want it to be. So you can think about using pinned posts in a lot of ways as a great way to also onboard your athletes, because anytime they're looking for resources that they might not want to search for within their timeline, they can scroll all the way to the top and then end up getting access to that content because you've pinned it. If you have something that's a little bit more temporary, so a promotion that you're running or something like that, again, you can just unpin it in this example and then pin it until a certain date, okay? So you can pin it here. Now, as you're seeing, if you are a pro member, you also have the opportunity to move posts and copy posts. This is a big deal for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to talk about every single one today because this is meant to just get you started. But as you can imagine, if you posted something in the wrong space, you could move it. If you had something great that you wanted to share immediately with somebody else, you can just copy it as well. This also allows groups of coaches that are trying to share drills and best practices, certain resources. They can now copy content from one space to another, or even from a group to another group or another space. And it allows you to actively collaborate around content like you could never do before. While I'm on pro features, if you are a pro member, because I know a lot of you are here as a pro member, we also have the ability to schedule posts. So if you're somebody that wants to get ahead of the curve, make sure that you got your content dripping out, you can do that. One example of how to do this is you can sell, again, 30 days to better, let's say to a better vertical, weight loss, running programs, whatever it might be. You can actually sell that program and schedule out the content so that for you, you might have spent 15 minutes scheduling this content, but it'll drip out on the schedule that you decide. And then it'll allow you to then interact with that athlete just casually, but they're going to feel like they get a ton of value and you had a lot of leverage because you've used scheduled posts. I'm not going to go through the mechanics of how to do it. It is quite simple, but I want to make sure that if you're not familiar that we even had it, that you are familiar. Now, if you edit tags, which is one of the questions, if you edit tags in the tag library, they will disappear from the posts that they're on. So, or they will change. Well, I'll say this, if you delete it, it'll go away. If you edit the name, I don't know if it'll actively retroactively go through and edit all the tags historically. If you've used this thousands of times, that's something I would have to check on, but obviously it'll change the tag moving forward. Okay, question here. Is there a way to integrate remote coaching delivered CoachNow into a website by using a link? In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. Everybody that you're going to be working with within CoachNow will need to create an account within CoachNow. So you're not going to necessarily be able to deliver a lot of the coaching in some sort of embedded experience inside your website. I honestly don't know if that would do you any good anyway, but the majority of what coaches are doing is that they're selling these remote coaching programs. They let people know that CoachNow is the way it's going to be delivered. They invite them to CoachNow, and then everything's done. 99% of it's going to be done on the mobile app. Very little of the athlete experience is probably going to be on the web. The web, the reason why it's built and so powerful is that the majority of the web features are admin level features for you as coaches to help you run your business. And for those that are maybe a little more tech phobic that don't want to work on their phone, they just want to see their video and be done with it. The web also serves that audience as well. Remote coaching and all things regarding that, again, will also be covered in this masterclass that we're going to be doing in May. I will walk you through every single step of not only how to create the program, sell the program, but deliver the program as well. We just have a ton of experience doing this, and there's lots of coaches that are making 6 figures working 20 to 30 hours a week, only coaching remote. Yes, so to clarify, Jody, yes, sell the program on the website. They will pay you in whatever way that you want them to pay you, PayPal, Zelle, Stripe, whatever it might be. And then you're going to deliver the program within CoachNow. All you need is their email address and you're off to the races. That said, a little sneak preview for all of you, we are looking at adding billing components into CoachNow in the fall, but it'll be something that's very different than what you're used to, because ultimately we want to help you do subscription management, not just sell lessons, but that's a conversation for a future time. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to just make sure I'm just going to open up one more window here. I had some questions highlighted in my doc. I'm not going to be able to get to everything. All right. So recapping, this is a question, how to get younger athletes into the platform. Again, I want you to know that as you're creating spaces, new space for another athlete, email or phone number, okay? As you create it by phone number, you'll then get a link that you can share directly to them via text message or WhatsApp or whatever. And then when they join, they'll just use that phone number as authentication. Works just fine in most parts around the world. Know that if you are someone as an international coach that's either here today with me now or viewing this, if you have problems, contact us, because there are certain countries that we've had to pause for now. I don't want to say blacklist or anything, but there's been a lot of fraud in certain countries when it comes to text message invites and confirmations that we've had to deal with, as well as others. So there are certain countries that this isn't going to work for, but you contact us, let us know if it is or isn't working, and we'll work with you to make sure that we figure out a way around it in that case. All right, so that's that question. Younger athletes, yeah, they don't have email sometimes, so you need to do it with the phone. All right, Coach's Eye. A lot of you may have come over to CoachNow via Coach's Eye because, as you know, Coach's Eye shut down. We are very comparable, if not more advanced, in a lot of the analysis features. We do have high video quality, and that's only getting better all the time. And then, as you've seen, if you've been watching me through this whole presentation today, we have incredibly advanced communication features because that's what we care most about. We think that video analysis is aids in communication. It's not the only thing that you ought to be doing with someone. It just is another way to educate and empower that athlete. So we've had tons and tons of coaches shift to CoachNow, regardless of the sport, via Coach's Eye. Now, because we have all the different ways to send content to people and it makes it so much faster, Coach's Eye is not really comparable, and they're not in business anyway, so it doesn't matter. Now, the library, yes. The other part of this question was, should I use Dropbox? Absolutely not. We have a library here for you, and you can store all your content in there, either by creating it right away or by uploading things that you might already have waiting for you, or sorry, that you've already created. All right, so I've already gone over onboarding information. That's great. Already stored, talked about the tags. This is awesome. All right, so thank you so much for bearing with me with the early technical issues. We have a lot of people still here, which is great. We had hundreds and hundreds of people register, so hopefully this recording goes off without a hitch once we send it to them. If you've got more questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. Otherwise, we have effectively hit our time box here. Hopefully I got you covered as far as how to create spaces, how to add content, how to leverage templates for onboarding, which is a big deal for you guys, how to organize your content within groups and spaces by using tags and channels, and then how to find things down the road. We have a lot more features specifically when it comes to Pro, and that's where we're going to be investing when it comes to more automation, more data, more ways to help you monetize your coaching practice. That's going to be added to Pro. If you want to stick with CoachNow Plus, you're also going to be hooked up in a big, big way, because generally anybody that's using CoachNow Plus and using it in the way that we prescribe is saving anywhere from 10 to 20 hours a week in admin time and still increasing their income anywhere from 15 to 25%, because they're moving away from exclusively exchanging time for money and more into long-term coaching programs, or maybe even exclusively remote programs, which is a great thing. So pause there, look at some questions that just came in. All right. Is there a limit for gigabyte size in the library? Ooh, that's a great question. I don't want to speak too much to that, because technically no, but I definitely have seen some issues when people are trying to upload a 4K video that might be 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes long, right? Our platform's not designed in the same way that YouTube might, or a really high-end streaming video platform like Vimeo. That's not us. Our goal is more often than not to share bite-sized pieces of content between you and your athletes so that you can keep the coaching relationship moving forward. If you are uploading something long, 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes long, I would encourage you to compress it so that it can be streamed quickly, because we're always riding the edge of speed and quality. We want to make sure that athletes can receive the video, or you can receive the video in a timely fashion without necessarily having to wait for super long buffering times, etc. Okay. As far as the total library, no. If you're looking at in the library in the totality, thank you for the clarification. No, we do say on our corporate website that CoachNow Plus and CoachNow Pro have different gigabyte storage tiers, and while that is true, it is true, just between all of us here on this call, we're all friendly. We are not actively monitoring it unless someone is really abusing it by throwing up pirated 4K videos and using our platform to share content that they shouldn't otherwise be sharing. So if you're abusing it, we'll let you know and we'll work with you. But if you're abusing it, you probably don't want to be worked with anyway. But Mike, in this case, if you're using the platform in the normal way, I mean, we're not going to come after you. Just use it. Don't worry about it. Don't delete stuff unless you want to. But that's totally up to you. All right. Is there a way to see when a space is actually created, a pop-up to say it's complete? I've duplicated spaces because there's no confirmation. So I've created a couple spaces during this particular demo. Each time there was a confirmation. If you're not seeing that for whatever reason, that may be a small bug that's impacting you. That's not what it should be. So please contact us, Sarah. Our support team, support@coachnow.io. Let us know what's going on. Share screenshots. I'll just type that in real quick for you. So this is just one kind of clarifying point for anybody that's still here. Technology is not perfect. If you were here for the first few minutes of this webinar, you saw me scrambling because I couldn't get this stuff working. Stuff happens, okay? But if you run into issues, please let us know. We are going to respond within 24 hours, if not within a few hours. I feel like we have some of the best support in the world, especially compared to the platforms that we use day in and day out, where we're spending $20,000, $30,000 a month on some of this stuff, and I can't even get somebody to respond to an email within a week. We're going to respond to you very, very quickly because we know how important it is that CoachNow is working for you. That said, it's not going to work perfectly all the time. So if you do run into a bug or an issue, please provide as much information as you can. Go overboard, screenshots, video recordings, all the details. Because the more information you share with us, the faster we can fix things and get them right back to you. If you just say, hey, my phone is weird, then we're going to have to send you probably a dozen emails in order to get something fixed. That's just how it is. All right, so we have reached our time box, quote unquote. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I appreciate you guys all being here. We're going to be doing a lot more of these trainings, so it is very meaningful that you came here, you were live. I do want to remind you that we are going to have a masterclass coming up, so be on the lookout for our high ticket subscription masterclass. I'm going to walk you through all the details of how to create offers, sell offers, not only in a remote environment, but also in a hybrid connected coaching environment. That way you can go, hopefully, for a lot of you, move away from exclusively selling lessons, quote unquote, to then moving into these different coaching programs. I think it's going to be very meaningful for you. That's going to be coming up in May. There will be bonuses and incentives for showing up live like all of you did today. So thanks for carving out the time. All right, if you are watching this as a recording, much love to you as well. Please let us know how we can be helpful. Reach out. We're always here from you. If you are a trialing member of CoachNow, hopefully this helps you get over the line. If you still got questions, let us know. If you are a Plus member looking to move to Pro, hopefully we highlighted some of the reasons why that's important. The other main important reason that I may not have been clear about is that all of our future development in a big, big way is going to be on the Pro platform because that's where we're going to be investing in automation and other ways to help you optimize your income and your coaching practice within that plan. If you are new and you're curious, and I haven't said this, your athletes are all going to be joining CoachNow for free. We do not charge them. There are going to be things that we offer to you and your athletes probably within the next year that might optimize your coaching relationship. But in order to use CoachNow as it stands and communicate with you, there is no fee for them and or their parents, and that will always be the same. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate your time, and we'll catch you later.